Hey y'all, I'm Tyler, and this is Outbound Sales Lift, where you can elevate your SDR team and transform your sales development efforts. If you enjoy this show, please consider dropping us a rating to help others find us. And you can also subscribe to get each episode delivered straight to you on Tuesdays, right when they're released. Thanks so much for listening. On today's episode, we'll be covering the 5 pillars of SDR management. It's going to be a solo episode with just me, so let's go ahead and dig in. And starting with the fact that the 5 pillars, I believe the 5 pillars of SDR management are: number 1, hiring; number 2, onboarding and training; number 3, coaching; number 4, data and reporting; and number 5, leadership. Okay. And we're going to dig into each of those 5 pillars, starting with hiring, which might be one of the most important things that you do as an SDR leader, as an SDR manager. It's kind of the number 1 determining factor to your success as an SDR manager, right? It's the clay that you're working with. You know, if you don't get good clay, it's really hard to be a good SDR manager. You can do lots of things right. You can be a great leader, great coach, great management on top of the data. But if you don't have the right people, it is very difficult. So I think hiring is the number 1 pillar of great SDR management. And really, when I think of hiring, I think you have to be vetting for a lot of things, okay, on the front end. You need to be vetting for culture fit. You need to be vetting their sales skills, okay? You need to be vetting for their instincts, kind of their sales instincts, those soft skills like tonality, punctuality, communication, right? You need to be vetting for their professionalism, because this role, you know, it's a lot of folks' first time in a professional role and a first time in a sales role. You need to make sure they can be professional, both internally and externally with your clients. And then finally, responsiveness. I think you need to be vetting for responsiveness, and there's so many opportunities to do that in the interview process, which we'll dig into here in a second. So make sure that you're vetting for those things: culture fit, sales skills, their instincts, that professionalism, their responsiveness. All of those things are key determining factors to success in the SDR role. And they're going to make your life easier as an SDR manager. So in my opinion, your hiring should include multiple steps. Let me repeat that. Multiple steps with internal stakeholders involved, multiple internal stakeholders. So you, as the SDR leader, are definitely going to play a big part in the hiring process and be that, hopefully, that end decision maker. But you need to have others involved in your company, whether they be colleagues in marketing, account executives, other SDRs, executive leaders. Pull in other people to get some other opinions and make sure that there's not only multiple stakeholders, but there are multiple steps in the hiring process. One big mistake I see companies make is have like a 1, 2, 3 round process. It's very quick. It's really just you, the SDR leader. There's just a couple of interviews. You bring an executive in at the end. Everything sounds good. Let's hire this person. That's not right. Okay. You need to make sure you're including multiple, what I like to call tests in the interview process. So for example, a test could be a research exercise. You could give your potential SDRs a research project. Hey, go and research, this ICP, go and research this buyer persona and answer these 5 questions about what you find, because SDRs might be doing that in their role. Another test, you could do a cold email example, right? Here's a prospect. I want you to write a personalized first cold email to this person, and I want you to send it my way. Could be something that they're doing in the role. You want to see what that looks like, okay? Cold call role plays. This is so crucial because you have the opportunity to not only see how do they engage in a live setting, but also how do they take feedback, right? And all these things, give them feedback and then see what they do. Do they want to try again? Do they want to go a second time on that role play? They want to write a second email? Give them some feedback and then put the ball in their court. See what they do. Send me a list of references, right? Complete this assignment. Reach out to a member of our team to learn more about the role. That's something they should just be doing on their own. But all of these are tests that you can give SDRs, incoming SDRs, during the interview process to do that vetting. You're looking for those skills, and these tests are the way to get there. So hiring is my number 1 pillar for SDR leadership and management. Number 2, onboarding and training. Okay, great. You've made some hires. You've got people in the door. Now, those first 30, 60, 90 days can really make or break your entire SDR program and really are going to make or break your success as an SDR manager. So the first 90 days, the first few months, they can really determine how long reps are going to hang around. Okay. Reps, I think, immediately are either, have buyer's remorse and they're thinking, oh man, this is a disaster of an onboarding process. What have I done? This is not very good. I'm not getting the onboarding and the training I need. Or they can be inundated with lots of information, with direction, with schedules, with just direction in where they're going in this role and you setting them up for success. So you are either making a huge positive or a huge negative impression on your new SDRs with your onboarding and training. It's also really important that you get those reps up to speed so you start seeing an ROI from them as early as possible. It seems like ramps are getting, less and less, fewer and fewer in terms of amount of time, but we need to make sure that we're doing our part and really doing that training well. Onboarding to me is really important, where there's going to be a lot of hands-on training by you and other folks in the team, but you want to make sure that you're doing that ongoing training as well. And I want to make sure I make the distinction between training and coaching. Okay. Training to me is teaching those new reps, those new SDRs, those foundational elements, things they've got to understand in order to be a successful SDR, such as the ICP that you're going after, such as the tech stack that you're using and how to use it well, the messaging that goes well, right? How to personalize the email. Those are all trainings, foundational things that you should be teaching both initially during onboarding, and then you should have regular trainings ongoing to make sure you're leveling up your team. Coaching is a little bit different in my regard. It's more about reinforcing those right behaviors over time, right? It's doing those live exercises, giving that live feedback. It's giving that Slack coaching little tidbits that you can give. You need to be doing both, right? You need to be doing both, which we'll touch on coaching more in a second. But at the end of the day, the second key pillar for good SDR management is onboarding and then ongoing training. Make sure you nail the first 90 days and then make sure you're doing regular training with your team outside the one-on-ones, outside of just, coaching sessions. Like, do regular group trainings and keep leveling your team up even after onboarding. That brings me to my third pillar for great SDR management, and it's coaching. Right? Coaching to me deserves its own section. You've got your onboarding, right? You've hired the right person. You've got them onboarded. You've got them trained with the basic foundational knowledge. Now, coaching is probably one of the most important things you're going to do from here, because you have to do it ongoing. You're always coaching your reps. You're live coaching them. You're asynchronously coaching them. You're giving them advice. You have to be that coach, that mentor, that guide for them. I highly recommend time blocking your coaching, right? Make sure it is a dedicated part of your day. Put 30 minutes at the beginning of your day, 30 minutes you're in, and make sure you're going to your team asking where they need help and how you can help them. Daily coaching is a requirement of a great SDR manager. Now, to me, there's some different types of coaching we might do. We might do some cold call coaching. Okay. That could be a big thing that we do. Live coaching, whether if we're listening in on the Zoom or using a live tool, live listen in, right? That you could be giving coaching in real time. Recordings. Let's go back and review the tape. Give them some feedback on what they did well, areas of opportunity. Role plays, right? Let's role play this conversation. Ring, ring. Hello, it's Tyler. And then role play that conversation with a prospect, and don't just go easy on them. Kind of simulate a prospect, give them the objections, give them things they're actually going to hear. My big piece of advice when you're doing some cold call role plays is only focus on one thing at a time. Okay. One thing at a time. And that really applies to all coaching that you're going to do with your team. Don't throw 5, 10, 15 different things at them to improve, because guess what? They're not going to know what to do. So make sure you're focusing on one thing at a time with your coaching. Once they've got that skill down that you're teaching towards, then you're coaching towards, then you can move on to the next skill. Email and LinkedIn. Make sure that you're doing regular audits of what they're sending, right? Send me an example of a LinkedIn profile and then the personalized email you sent to that person, and let's take a look. Okay. Audit. You've got to be in there, audit, teaching, doing that skill development, working on copywriting. All of that is ongoing. And a big piece too of coaching is mindset coaching, right? The SDR role is hard. As an SDR manager, you have to be coaching that stick with itness, I like to call it, that ability to overcome adversity, to hang in there. This is a tough role, as most of you know. And your team's mindset and attitude is so important to the success of them hitting their goals and them just sticking around in this role. And at the end of the day, it's how you're going to be judged too. You need to make sure your team has a really strong mindset. Now, I want to draw a distinction between therapy and coaching, because sometimes you're going to be a coach and just you're working on skill development. Other times you just have to be a therapist in this role, right? You've got to be that shoulder to cry on at bad days. You've got to be the one picking them up. When we think about mindset, it's like, what are you doing to help them move forward when they get knocked down? How are you helping them become more self-sustainable? And I agree, there should be some boundaries here. You should draw the line, right? Try not to get into too personal, but at the end of the day, this is an intimate relationship that you have with your reps, and you want to make sure that they can trust you, right? Trust is huge here. And as a manager, you can help them. You can't do everything, but if you don't trust them and they don't trust you, there's not going to be that next level of coaching that can happen, which is sometimes just asking them, hey, how you doing? How's it going today? Hey, what's going on in your personal life, right? How'd you sleep last night, right? The basics. Sometimes we skip the basics, but those are things that are really, really important. And a lot of times when I think about coaching too, I'm thinking about skill and will, right? The skill and the will of the SDR, because they need to come in with the will. They need to come in with it consistently. That goes back to hiring. We want to try to bring people in with the will. It's really hard to teach people how to get out of bed and get jazzed up to do this. They need to just do it, right? If they have the will, you can teach them the skills. That goes back to the onboarding, the training, and the coaching, right? But the skill is really what you can impact with your coaching. And that's what separates the B, from the B from the A from the B players, the A from the C players, C from the B players. You have to level them up, but they've got to have the will. So make sure you hire the right people with the right will, the right attitudes, the right get up and go, stick with itness, looking for those soft skills. And then your coaching is going to be what's going to keep them going and level up that skill set on a daily basis. All right. That was number 3, coaching. Fourth pillar for great SDR management is data and reporting. This job is a lot about the numbers. Sales is a numbers game. And you've got to make sure you're doing the right things so that your team is consistently hitting quota. You've got to make sure that the right activities are happening and you're tracking those KPIs in an organized fashion. And I'm not just saying spray and pray, more. I don't think that's the right way necessarily. I think there's time for volume, but I think it's more about let's track the right activities and let's track that quality versus quantity in everything that we're doing. But you've got to stay close to the data. If you lose sight of the data, if you don't have the right reports to be reviewing on a regular basis, you will not be successful as an SDR manager. The data should indicate those necessary changes that should be made, right? It should indicate what your team needs work on. What should they be doing more of? What should they be doing less of? It's also how you report up to senior leadership in the organization. And it's how you hold your reps accountable, right? But that data is what flows through you so that you can report up and you can communicate to your reps what they need to work on. Make sure that daily activity is really important in this role. Do not lose sight of the daily activity. One thing that my friend Joey Gilkey does is he does a daily shutdown scorecard. I'm a huge fan of this for SDRs. If you're not doing this, SDR leader out there, do this starting today. Do a daily shutdown scorecard. And what you're going to do in that scorecard, you're going to basically have them put down their numbers for the day. How many calls I made, emails I sent, LinkedIn touches, how many books did I have, how many holds, and then ask them some qualitative questions. Did you do right by the business today? Did you control your calendar? Did you have a good morning routine? Right? How did you feel about today? 1 to 10. Make them put it down. What are your blockers? Right? Put that in a daily scorecard and make them fill it out every day before they close shop. And then you, as the manager, need to be reviewing that because there's tons of valuable data in there. There's tons of valuable intel that can go back and inform the coaching that you should be doing, the training that you need to be working on, which rep needs an extra one-on-one today. Okay. Which rep is already in the red or the yellow, even though they just started. You want to make sure you're tracking that. And a daily shutdown scorecard is a great way to do it. All right. Awesome. So data and reporting, the number 4 thing for great, the number 4 pillar for great SDR management. Number 5 is leadership. leadership, management. But basically, this is kind of, to me, this can be the toughest part, because a lot of SDR managers might be first-time managers. This might be the first time that you're leading someone else in a professional setting. And as a leader, all eyes are on you. All eyes are on you. And you have to be ready, right? You set the tone as the leader. You set the agenda for the one-on-ones, for the team syncs, for the trainings. You lead those trainings, right? You do that coaching. You have all of the accountability, right? When your team is not being successful, it's on you. And you've got to figure out why. You got to figure out how to get more out of your reps. And at the end of the day, it's gonna fall on your hands. This can be very difficult. This can be very difficult, especially for those leaders who are used to being the top individual contributor, the top rep. It's not about you anymore. It's not about you. It's about your team. It's about each of those individuals on your team, and what are you doing to get the most out of them? How are you coaching and developing them? How are you making them feel heard? How are you making sure they're set up for success? Because being a great leader often means, learning. You got to also learn how to take care of yourself as well as the manager. A lot of time it's like, oh, we should just focus on everybody else, but you have to have a good routine yourself. Good sleep, good routine, good boundaries. You focus on your personal development. Take care of yourself, leaders. If you're not taking care of yourself, you certainly can't take care of your team. So it's that balance of taking care of your team, take care of yourself. And then also, just a big part is also learning how to just be fulfilled with others' success rather than your own. Being a great SDR manager is about being fulfilled with others' success rather than your own. Because that can be hard for those former top reps, like I just mentioned. And you can't just do the job for them. I'm not a big fan of managers just go out and just say, well, let me just do it. Let me just do it for you. Let me just take the call. Let me just do this for you. Let me show you how. Okay. There's a difference between doing and enabling, right? You want to enable them to do it themselves, to be self-sustainable. And you have to do that by showing them the right way. And then you have to hold them accountable. And to me, a big part of showing that leadership too is asking the right questions. What questions do you ask your rep? Because those questions will determine your relationship with that rep and how self-sustainable they are, whether they're B or A players. It will determine whether they trust you or not. All of these things, all of these questions that you ask and how you treat your reps, these are very impactful to having a successful SDR team. So how do you coach them? How do you train them? How do you show up? How do you lead them? How do you manage them? Are you leading from the front, right? Are you hopping in there in the trenches with them, showing them good best practices, and then, praise in public, and then behind closed doors, let's talk about what we need to work on, right? And that comes down to having good one-on-one cadence. You need to have good meeting cadences, one-on-ones, team syncs, trainings, group coachings, right? Pulling in other stakeholders in the other organization. But you have to have a great leadership cadence in terms of your meetings. And then that is what's going to make your team successful. So just to review the top 5 pillars of SDR management. Number 1, hiring. Got to hire the right people. Number 2, onboarding and training. Got to get them up and running as quickly as possible with a great onboarding program. Number 3, coaching. Daily, consistent. Lots of different types of coaching, always there to help. Number 4, data and reporting. Always understanding where your team stands as it relates to the numbers, the inputs, and the outcomes that you're looking for. Number 5, leadership. You lead from the front. You set the tone. You set the example. If you do these 5 things, these 5 pillars, hiring, onboarding and training, coaching, data and reporting, and leadership, you will be a fantastic SDR manager. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Outbound Sales Lift. So excited to be coming to you here today. And if you need help elevating your SDR team, please visit our website at thesaleslift.com. That's the sales, SALES, lift, LIFT.com to learn more. And also make sure to hit subscribe wherever you get podcasts to check out next week's episode filled with more great ideas on transforming your sales development efforts. We're going to be having some solo episodes and a lot of interviews with some great leaders in the sales development space, and you're going to learn a ton from this show. And I'm really, really excited to be relaunching this show, the Outbound Sales Lift. Thank you so much for tuning in today and for listening. And remember, No sale starts until you book that meeting.